So to those who are unaware about what happened last weekend, the equivalent of Worlds Tournament of Power, which I think is actually a really good name, fitting name, concluded. And essentially what happened was, well, a lot of people probably know my meme, so I guess there's that, but I'd like to congratulate, before I start, I want to congratulate Tommy Andre for really just proving that a quote-unquote bad MP, or excuse me, a bad mastery with a quote-unquote bad MP really can do very, very well. One might say that two negatives cancel each other out, so you have the conflict mastery and the Supreme Kai, because Supreme Kai is a trap, or was. That was the meme. I honestly don't know enough about Supreme Kai to really just kind of give a justified argument, but yeah, maybe two negatives cancel each other out. Now you get a positive, and that was definitely true. Come Tournament of Power, you guys can basically figure out what the hell happened. But I also want to point out before I start the main topic of this video. But I want to point out that Android Efficiency Drill and Black Conflict Mastery, that's so clean. That's such a good tactic, but it's so clean. You know how that kind of stuff happens, where you get this really clean, strategy, but it's still, it's not like it's bogged down. Like that's really simple, but that's also really effective, because there are a lot of cards out there that, in my opinion, would be really stinking good, and that's just one of them. Like that's so easy to understand, but it's so clean in that regard. So very good. But again, congratulations, Tommy. You proved that it really doesn't matter what you play in this game, because you can win either way. So it really just shows how integrated, how a really good player can overcome a quote-unquote helmet decks. But again, congratulations. But the second thing, the main topic of the video, is a little thing I thought up of work. The orange style has become the retro go-to, let's bitch about this. In some instances, very rightfully so. I think mostly rightfully so, maybe 75% correct. Sometimes it's just bullshit, but a lot of it is correct. But it's basically the argument of orange as a whole has become the new black Devious. So before I really just kind of go into my quote-unquote rant, I want to say one thing perfectly clear. I used to be an orange player. Now this is not some confession. For me, I honestly don't care. But orange, to me, was my go-to style, because it was a style I was used to. It was a style I recognized, It was, oh, what am I going to play today? Oh, well, I know how to play Orange Adaptive, and I know how to play Orange Adept. I never really got into Retribution, but Conflict I almost got into it with Mystery Box. Mystery Box 2, I almost played Combative Turles, and Mystery Box 3, I almost played Combative Future Gohan. Mystery Box wants me to play a combative deck. I didn't get around to it. Maybe when World Martial Arts Tournament rolls around on the Octagon League and I join in, and if I get something, maybe I'll try combative, just to finally bury that hatchet. But to me, I half want to say that orange can't do everything, and half of me wants to say that orange can do everything. Well, mostly everything, but I'm kind of diverting the entire point of this video. So, orange. How is it the new Black Devious? Well, Black Devious was the most powerful mastery in the game during the first 3 first 3 sets. I think it's, well, for the first 3 sets, it was the most powerful. I'm not sure who was like the reigning supreme during the set 4 meta. I think that was Orange Adaptive 20, because that won Worlds. I don't know if that's just because I don't know if that's just because the deck was really, really popular at the time, or the Black Devious just didn't, like, people didn't want to play Black Devious. They were bored of Black Devious, but that's beside the point. Black Devious was powerful because it was the best mastery for the first 3 sets. Now, I want to say this outright. You really can't blame Devious. You really can't blame the first 3 sets of this game to have a stale meta. You know, a lot of people are like, it's just half of, like, I was in Pensacola, Florida, and I actually talked to people who played Panini, and they were like, yeah, we kind of lost interest after the first 3 sets, because half the people played Black Krillin, and the rest of us didn't want to play Black Krillin, and there was this long, comprehensive laundry list of stuff. Like, we just didn't want to do it. We didn't want to play Black Devious all the time. They should have waited, another, was it 3 months for set 4 to roll around and actually get new stuff and new toys to play with, and then, Tag Ginyu would be good, and Ruthless, Turles would be good, and, Trunks would be really, really good. But that's beside the point. They're in Pensacola. I'm in Tucson, Arizona right now, but it's all beside the point. I really don't blame Black Devious for being the top tier mastery, Black Devious Krillin to be the top tier deck, because you're kind of like, how this game goes, the staleness is determined by, 1, how many MPs are in the game, and 2, how many masteries that are viable in the game. And when there's only 6 masteries, it's really, really easy to determine a singular viable, super viable mastery. Follows closely by, Knowledge Piccolo and whatever. I guess the go-to was Protective or Enraged Ginyu? I don't know. I joined this game set 4, but I really don't blame Black Devious during the first 3 sets. Now, after the fact, when there's more variety and Black Devious still persisted, that's kind of a different story, but, we look at Orange. Okay, now I go into the elephant in the room, Orange. Why is Orange the new Black Devious mastery? Why is Orange the new Black Devious mastery? Why is Orange now blatantly, stupidly good? And my answer to this question is very, very simple. Because it has gotten a lot of support. The style itself has gotten a lot of support and not a lot of nerfs in continuation. So, a good example of what I'm talking about, in how balancing works. You give and you take away. Okay, that's the general sense. Now, Dragon Ball Z has never been really a takeaway, unless it's absolutely breaking the game. Like, for example, Orange Retribution is a really good example. We had Orange Retribution for 2 years, and they finally froze it. So, but there was no. But the thing is like, we look at like Orange Retribution, and Orange Retribution getting frozen did not fix Orange, and I guess you could say that was predictable. Like, oh, we're gonna instantly freeze a mastery, and bam, everything is perfectly fine, right? No, but what really threw Orange over the top was when Set 7 was released. But Set 7, other than Orange Retribution Mastery, but Set 7 eventually got scaled back. Orange Checkup Drill, for example. Okay, this unlimited fetch a block. Oh, now we use dismissal. We dismissal into, Checkup Drill, to grab Checkup Drill to get a block, and then that gets us to, and that basically, and we could just basically loop, right? That was a problem, but they got around it. They started to fix it. They said, okay, so we're gonna make Checkup Drill limit 1, and we're gonna give it the clause of this if this card has appeared in combat once. Literally meaning that the only way you can get around this is if you use it once. So you have to use it once, and then once you use it once, you're done for the rest of the combat. Which definitely made Checkup Drill a very, very strong card, but they at least attempted to scale it down a bit. After set 8 rolled around, Orange was getting lots of new toys, and I say toys because this is technically a toy. Orange kept getting new toys, and not just okay toys or toys to help a certain archetype. It helped every Orange card that has been put out has benefited Orange. It has not just benefited Orange Adept. It is not just benefited Orange Adaptive. It has not just benefited Orange Combative. It has benefited everything about Orange. Here's a really good example. I forget the card name off the top of my head. Orange Belly Bash. It's basically Orange PowerPoint, but it's a physical attack. Like, even if you're not running physical beats, getting another card that can search your deck for another drill is ridiculously good. Even if you're like, well, I'm not playing energy like physical beats. It's like you have 6 searchers that can grab, 6 attack searchers that can grab a drill out of your deck. Like, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous, And it's more ridiculous in, it's like, well, it's even more ridiculous in Adept. Yeah, it is, because that's Adept. But at the same time, it's like, that's a really good example. It's like, who's to say that I can't use that card in Orange Adaptive or Orange Combative? Well, it doesn't really work for the Mastery. It's like, it's still a searcher. I now have 6 attack deck searchers. That's not even including Dismissal. We go back to set 8, and we get 4 cards that become instantaneous. 4 cards? Yeah, I think it's 4 cards. 4 cards? 3 or 4 cards. We get 3 or 4 cards that become instant staples. Black Bicycle Kick is an instant staple. It's like, no, Black Bicycle Kick, it's like, not all of them are instant staples. Like, Sweeping Blast? I can tell you, Sweeping Blast is freaking ridiculous. Meditation? Like, Bicycle Kick, it's like, you instantly made a very, very strong archetype that much more stronger by adding these attacks, by adding these cards, And what did Orange, what did they do in order to bring down that effectiveness? That hyper effectiveness? Oh, well, they made it banish after use. So now your bicycle kicks are banished after use now. So you can't loop anymore, right? You can't loop anymore. That's great, right? No, it's like, no. Juke. Orange got an Omni Block. Why did Orange get an Omni Block? Well, we decided Orange needed an Omni Block. Well, if it was like Namekian Barricade, where it was like Omni Block, if you don't control any drill, search your life deck for a drill, or search your discard pile for a drill, and place it in a play. Like, to me, that makes a little more sense, because it's like Namekian Barricade. Namekian, believe it or not, Namekian has 2. They have 2 Omni Blocks. But no one plays Namekian Barricade because no one actually wants to play Namekian Barricade. Hybrid Defense is so much better, But Orange is like, oh, we need to give Orange a better, like a decent like a halfway between Refocus and an Omni Block. Like, why didn't Orange get an Omni Block? And this is coming from a guy who loves Juke. Like, Juke, when I played Orange a lot, Juke was one of my favorite cards to grab with Checkup Drill. I think it was a lot of people's favorite card to grab and Checkup Drill. But why do we need it? Orange, Orange Meditation. Like, the parentheses for Orange Meditation makes a lot of sense. But I don't like cards that prevent a win condition from going through. Bicycle Kick. Too much interaction with Checkup Drill. If it was, too much interaction with Checkup Drill, I think damage output is pretty freaking high. And the most they do is they nerf it by making it banish after use. I don't really see a point to that. Set 8 had 1 non-super super viable orange card, and that was a drill that a lot of people didn't really use. But then we get to Legends and Reflections, and Legends did not produce a metric shit ton of super stupidly good, like not instant uses, but there were a lot of really good energy combat cards, orange cards. Orange Bottle Drill. Orange Bottle Drill is freaking ridiculous in Adept, especially if you're playing stage beats. Memories. Like, memories in Adept and Combative are ridiculously good. So, needless to say, But it's like, a lot of people are like, well, that's kind of benefiting the archetype, That's not really benefiting everything. Like, that's not benefiting Orange as a whole. Bottle Drill is benefiting Orange as a whole. Memories might not benefit every Orange deck, but, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And then we get to set 10, and we get a brand new archetype. But we also get cards. We also get orange cards that benefit the archetype as a whole. Then we get to set 11, and now we have even more cards, like Attraction Drill. Attraction Drill is fucking ridiculous. And what it has become, what Orange has become, is it's become that style very, very much in line with Black Devious, in the sense that it's not easy to combat. It's not easy to combat because it kind of has an answer for everything. It doesn't have an answer for Dragon Balls. Oh wait, yeah, it does. It actually does. Does it? Well, Dragon Balls are like the one exception, because you can't get those critical damage effects off. But at the same time, it's like, if you're hitting for, 17, a good amount of life cards or a good amount of stages that convert into life cards, you're probably going to be critting anyway. So it's like people bitched that Retribution did too much. I think Orange as a whole is doing too much. And a lot of it boils down to this give and take away. Give and take away, give and take away. Like, there are a lot of cards, a lot of good orange cards that are applicable to freezing. Like, they meet the requirements. They're over 2 years old. And instead of taking away those cards, they're just letting it stay. The biggest rant is the Attraction Drill. I think it's Focusing Drill? Combo. Where your opponent uses a card that destroys drills, they have to target Focusing Drill, and then you use Attraction Drill to prevent Focusing Drill from leaving play. Oh, I mill 4. It's like, oh, you mill 4 off the top of your life deck. Like, if you're going to give Orange everything, give Orange the black cards, like Black Double Team and Black Protection, so now they can actually benefit off of that too, because if you're making these ridiculous combos, you should probably emphasize that. But, and it's like, well, how do we nerf that? How do we nerf that? Well, people are like, well, if I use my card effect to destroy a drill, and I use this, and I use Focusing, and then I use this combo, does that mean that my drill doesn't stay into play, and if I have to have the prerequisite to destroy a drill, I don't have to? And then, well, they're like, the Fanzy Dev, like, I want to say this outright, the Fanzy Dev, you guys are doing a very good job, but you guys do need criticism, and I'll explain that criticism in a minute here, but back to what I'm trying to say, like, the devs say, okay, so that was totally unintentional, so what we're going to do is we're going to try again. And they release it so now when your opponent's card effect would have a drill, you control leave play, or something along that line, destroy the top 4 cards of your life deck, that card does not leave combat. That card does not leave. It's like, well, we still have this Focusing Drill, infinite loop, Focusing Drill can't go away. Essentially, we have like protection of 1, and there aren't enough dedicated anti-drill cards to really just kind of justify that entire thing as a whole. Okay. A really good example is Isolation. Now, I honestly didn't know Isolation even existed, but it did. It did, and I read up on it. I'm like, hey, this is actually a really good card against Orange. But that's all beside the point. Orange traction drill. It does. It's like, I'm sorry, I lost my thought, my train of thought. Sorry. Isolation. Isolation is not one of those cards that people are going to be running because it's everywhere. It's not motherfucking Deborah, or excuse me, Cooler Ally. It's not Cooler Ally, and your opponent can't level up via, Unleashed. It's not like Oppressive Mastery, where you run, Stomach Crusher. Didier actually jumped down my throat with that one when I'm like, hey, Oppressive is actually kind of powerful, way too powerful, But the thing is that there are counters to this card, and I guess you could say the ultimate counter to Orange and drills in general is Isolation. But if you're running Isolation is such a niche card. It's like yeah, if you're running a shit ton, if you're fighting against a shit ton of drills, yes, Isolation is necessary, and allies as well. But at the same time, it's a dead card. You can't do anything with it. It has no endurance, so you can't banish it you can't keep it for the endurance value. And if you are going to run Isolation, it's not strong enough. It's not strong enough. It's like, well, yeah, your drills get shut down, but unless you're running Isolation or Vegeta is a really good example. Vegeta's Prideful Challenge. Unless you're running Vegeta or Isolation, and you play red, if you play like red Vegeta with Isolation, or red with Isolation, or red Vegeta, then the only way that you can get rid of all of your opponent's drills is to play red Observation, the one where you pay 5 stages. You set your MP to level 1, and you banish all drill setups and allies. Well, number one, that's detrimental to you. So if you're playing, forward stance drill, well, if you're playing setups, like if you're like Krillin or something, that's detrimental to you. I guess you could say Isolation is too, but really good example. But there's no guarantee that you can get that off, first of all. Second of all, it's spherable. So it's like for all intents and purposes, like Orange's biggest quote-unquote weakness isn't really that strong. And I haven't seen anybody run Isolation. I have seen people run Prideful Challenge, because that card is amazing, but they have not played Isolation. I don't see Isolation played anywhere in this game. I have played Isolation in all about one deck, and I don't play that deck anymore, because it's one of those flop lists. It's a list that just doesn't do anything. So, and to me, it just kind of reverts back to that give and take. Give us a traction drill, but get rid of focusing drill. Get rid of orange focusing drill. Get rid of that, because to prevent this loop. Like, if you're gonna create overpowered combos, you need to bring it around. If you're gonna keep checkup drill, you need to nerf bicycle kick to grab another kind of drill. I think it's, I forget if it was constant drills or non-constant drills for bicycle kick. Hold on, give me a sec. I'll keep talking in the meantime. It's like you have to give and you have to take away. You can't play this game the same way. You can't give one style everything, and then give none of the other styles anything. Number of constant drill for X constant drills. So yeah, if you're gonna if you're gonna bicycle kick checkup drill, if that combo exists, you need to get rid of it so bicycle kick can't search checkup drill. X number of drills, X equaling the amount of drills you rejuvenated up to 2. X constant drills with different names, up to 2. Okay? Number 1. Number 2, you need to look at the combinations. You need to look at bicycle kit. You need to look at individual masteries. You can't buff one style in its entirety to the degree you're doing with orange. Let me give you a good example of a style that got buffed. And that style was blue. Blue with stylish pose. I had to refrain myself from doing the Gotenks stab earlier. I said that. I'm like, yeah, blue stylish pose, and I almost did the Gotenks stab, which might be a good proxy. I might actually make that proxy sometime in the future, but beside the point. Blue stylish pose was a really good example. Blue stylish pose benefited blue a lot, because chances are if you're playing blue, you're already going to run allies. But even if you really think about it, to get max value out of it, you're probably playing blue tag team, or you're probably playing an MP that really likes allies, like Bobbity, Ginyu, Gohan, So you're already going to benefit off that in the first place, but that's a really good example. What's another really, really good example of a styled, like a buff to an entire style? Red controlled anger drill is another good example. You buff red in its entirety by giving us controlled anger drill. But at the same time, that's really all you've given us, and you've buffed individual playstyles. For set 3 set 9 and 10, you gave us the archetypes, the cards necessary for Saiyan Oppressive. But you've only given us that archetype. You've only given us based on that archetype, that deck. So while pregame can be good in other decks, I have never seen people play pregame in a non-oppressive deck. People play pregame in an oppressive deck because that's what pregame is designed to do. So while you've quote-unquote benefited the entire style, you have not. You have made it very, very restrictive to this one playstyle, the oppressive playstyle. If we're looking at going back to stylish pose, you're only benefiting the ally style, the ally portion of blue. And even if blue runs a shit ton of allies, you're really only benefiting that one archetype. With orange meditation, with orange bicycle kick, with orange that orange drill that makes it a guaranteed critical hit, with all these new orange cards that are coming out, that's just throwing just buffing orange up the butt. You're not doing anything. You are making it powerful as a whole. You're not dividing it into subcategories, first of all. Second of all, you are not taking away. You gave us attraction drill. Get rid of focusing drill. Freeze focusing drill. Okay? Freeze focusing drill. Freeze orange focusing drill. Because that prevents that loop from happening. Okay? First of all. Second of all, stop playing this card, stop playing and acting like it's completely it needs buffs, because it doesn't. Orange is in a really good spot right now. Orange has been in a good spot right now, and I know a lot of people, ironic that I say this because I posted a meme, this morning, but it doesn't need it. It straight does not need it. And the only reason that it is being benefited and it is being buffed right now is because, well, actually, I don't even know why. I don't even know why it's getting buffed. Why the fuck is this getting buffed? Why is orange getting new combos? Something Richie Williams said, Richie, whatever the hell you want to call him, said, the reason why we nerf things, the reason why we freeze things, the reason why we change the game is because of 3 reasons. 1, it's broken. 2, it's annoying as shit to play. Or 3, it stalemates the meta. The first 2 reasons are more than enough to start throwing orange under the bus a little bit. You know? There are a lot of cards. There are a lot of orange cards that are currently, you know, they're confirmed to get frozen, and they're not getting frozen. We have these overpowered combos, and they're not getting frozen. You know, I'm not an advocate. I'm not a huge advocate for freezing checkup drill, but there's like a really good example. Freeze checkup drill, so we don't have this loop bullshit. You know, you gave us drill memory, which was nice, but you know, that's about it. That's all you. Well, we've created a couple cards that were banished after use. We got rid of Retribution Mastery, which was freaking huge. I made another video on that, but outside of that, outside of these like wrist slaps, you know, orange has been relatively unaffected. You wrist slap bicycle kick. You wrist slap. I think you wrist slapped meditation. I forget if it's meditation or not, but I forget exactly. You like wrist slapped them. You gave them drill memory, and that was like honestly only applicable to orange, you know, to a handful of cards. But like, you got rid of Retribution, which was huge. But like, other than that, there's no takeaway. You're not taking away anything. You're giving orange lots and lots of benefits, and you're taking away very, very little. And that's what's causing this big problem. You know, that's what's causing this big problem. And a lot of people bring up Worlds, and they're like, Worlds, like, no orange deck got really, really good. It's like, and that while that is true, does that mean we need to turn a blind eye to orange? That we need to shut the fuck up? We need to stop bitching on orange? Like, no, because even if it isn't, even if it didn't take Worlds, it is still a problem. It is still a problem. You know, even if it didn't take Worlds, it's still a problem. I'm not gonna bring up other world tournaments, because there's no point in bringing up those, because those are old decks, old metas, old, you know, fuck, even old companies, you know, running it. But it's still there. It's like when people say it didn't take Worlds. What they're doing is they're taking. It's like a giant pimple. Like, orange is a giant zit, right? And people saying like, but it didn't take Worlds. All they're doing is taking a Band-Aid and putting it on top of this giant zit. You know? What's another analogy? There's a big hole in the floor, and people say, well, orange didn't take Worlds. What they're doing is they're putting a giant rug on it and being like, it's done. It's fixed. There's still a hole. There's still a problem. There's still problems right here. There's still broken combos out there. They're still getting buffed in places they don't need to be buffed in. So, yeah, so it's covered. It's not there anymore. You can't see it. So, and before I go, I want to do kind of a mini end rant, and that is to the people who say you can't criticize the FanZ devs. If you don't know what that means, you know, a lot of people say, well, they do this for free, they do this on their own time. You can't criticize them, because if you do, you're telling them off in situations that they really shouldn't be told off in, because they're doing this all for free. We put time, we put money, we put our patience, we put in a lot of shit, right? We put all of this in. All this time, all this money in. So when something goes wrong, and we bring it up, people who say you need to shut up because it's free, they don't get it. That's not criticism. Okay, let me kind of explain. Saying this game sucks. Why do people play it anymore? It is so stupid. The devs need to stop. That's bitching. That's complaining. That's bitching. That's complaining. That's all that crap. But saying, hey, there's something wrong with this game. Here's what's wrong with it. Like, That's not bitching. That's criticism. And in my opinion, and I know this is a completely different ballpark, but a good example of this is Dungeons and Dragons. I play D&D. I'm a dungeon master. I want criticism. I want people telling me what I'm doing wrong, rather than people telling me what I'm doing, than people not telling me at all, well, he's doing it for free, we really can't complain. No, fuck that. Tell me what is wrong. Tell me what is wrong. What is happening? What is wrong? I want to know so I can apply that to my later sessions. So if I'm doing something incorrectly, or I'm doing something wrong, or doing something bad, I can take away from that and actually come up with something. And that is what the fancy devs should be doing. So if people like, whenever somebody says something to the effect of, if you have criticism against this game, like if there's something you need to criticize in this game, shut up, because they're doing it for free, you need to laugh in their face. You need to laugh at them. Because what happens when the game changes for the worse, and criticism's everywhere, and there's nothing good going on of it? Should we just shut up and take it like take it? No. We devote time, we devote money into this. There are people who spend more money getting to the Kais and to the other events than I make in a month, 2 months, of work. Those are the guys that we should be celebrating. And unless they decide to make Kais online, which there might be, hey, that's a suggestion. Online Kais, maybe one year we do it all online, so the people who don't get to play online can play online. I guess that might be a little bit harder to do, but, for funsies. Just kind of theorizing. Like, people spend money in this game. They devote their time into this game. And to say that they're wrong because it's for free is still pretty bad. Like, if you get a free chicken sandwich and you bite into it and there's a rat in your fucking sandwich, are you gonna bitch? You're gonna fucking bitch. I don't give a fuck if it's free. There's a fucking rat in my sandwich, So just to the people who are smart and say that you need constant criticism is good, criticism is bad. People who say criticism is bad, you need to rethink your life. And to the people who know criticism is good, as long as it is constructive, don't bitch. That's a problem. Like, trust me, bitching is not good. Constructive criticism is. To those who know the difference between criticism and constructive criticism, when you encounter these people that say, well, we shouldn't say anything because it's free, laugh in their face. Because it's better for them to realize that they're wrong than it is for them to think that they're right. So, I guess in the too long didn't read version of this video, orange bad. Because its power is not being taken away. It is literally the Goku of Dragon Ball Z. No matter how hard you beat it down, no matter how hard you beat it, it gets back up, more powerful than ever. And then it busts out a new combo that we just have never seen before. So, in retrospect, I would take playing Devious over and over and over again than to play than to play Orange again. I really don't want to go back to Orange. Kind of a little end thing. When I 2017 set 10 around, I was kind of depressed. But one thing that really made me just kind of loathe this hobby was that I decided I was going to build decks, and it seemed like the only two decks I was building were blue decks, red decks, and orange decks, and I don't want to build those anymore. I'd rather go back. I'd rather have Black Devious Mastery back. Now, a lot of people would say, no, we don't want Black Devious Mastery back. But personal opinion, I would prefer to have Orange Adaptive back. I would prefer to have Black Devious back. I liked Black Devious. in hindsight, but I guess that'll be it for today. So, Black Devious, or excuse me, Orange is the new Black Devious. That's what I call it. That's how it is. Reduce its power. If you're going to give it new toys, reduce the effectiveness elsewhere. You know, that's my stance. So, good night, good morning, good day, good wherever. This is Joey, and I'm signing off.